Hello, this is Winston Cunningham. It is August 11th, 2025. And my subject for today is use what you know. What we know is associated with the heart. If you remember Jesus saying, it's not what you put into your mouth that defiles a person, it's what comes out, because what comes out represents what you understand. And heart represents understanding. And understanding encompasses what we've learned so far this lifetime and everything we've learned in previous lifetimes. Now, what we've learned in previous lifetimes is stored in the soul, and with enough awakening, you can pull that forward. And even with no awakening at all, each person gets a glimpse occasionally, because they'll be in the process of learning something and they'll say, well, I don't remember learning that. Everybody has that experience, and that's why if you don't remember having learned it and yet it comes easy to you, that means that you have learned it in a previous lifetime, because nobody gets the magic bullet just automatically has this talent or that talent. Everything is developed because we all started with the same thing. And the differences you see are just the different ways of approaching it. So, and just in the last few years, I've been able to pull some neat things forward from previous lifetimes. As I've become more aware that that's the case, then I can do more of that. Anytime I'm talking to somebody, I will encourage them to use what they know, because no matter where you are in the process of your own development, using what you know is the catalyst that opens up the channel where you can see more of what you know, or where you can learn more. It is only when you think that you know it all already that gets you in trouble. That's true for anybody, any place, anytime. So not only stay inquisitive, and it's helpful to go listen to my talk on the question, because to be curious, overly curious, is to have a key question that needs an answer. And if you're looking for that answer, Jesus said you'll find it. And I found that to be true. And the way that it happens is not magical, like God talks to me from on high. No. The thing that people think is the voice of God is actually their own soul talking to them. And your own soul talks to you constantly, but every night in the form of dreams. And if you want to dig into your dreams, go to the Wednesday webinar at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, U.S. as a branch school of School of Metaphysics in Palatine, Illinois, and this is put on. The leader is Mike Moffa, and he does a good job, and he has a panel of people with varying stages of experience that is very fascinating to watch. And I like to watch every week when I can, because I've had 40 years experience with dreams, but I'm still learning by watching these people interpret other people's dreams. And dreams are vital to understanding yourself. When you use what you know, you pull on that. It goes back to the parable of the talents. When you use what you have, more will be added. When you misuse what you have or you deny what you have, then you lose. And this is how people get tired and they don't know it. And you can gain a lot of ground by just using what you know, but put attention on, and here's another part of this is, in order for your soul to communicate with you, you have to be still. Be still and know that I am God. God expresses the whole of who he is or what he is through I am, which is the light that is us. And I am expresses through the superconscious mind as spirit. I am expresses through the subconscious mind as soul. And I am expresses through the conscious mind as the conscious ego. That's the one that messes with you. That's the picture is the devil. But there's more to that, because there's 4 stages of the development of the conscious ego: the serpent, devil, Satan, and finally the dragon. And I won't get into that here. But look at it in language of mind if you want to understand it. You won't understand it just looking at the words. It's not designed that way. The Bible was written in language of mind. It's intended that you get the picture. But as long as you're hung up in the physical part only, the 7th level, it's his outermost expression, as long as you're hung up there, then you don't get the whole picture. You don't get any picture. And so that's why you're frustrated and lost and confused and dazed and all that stuff. There's an answer to that. And the answer is in here. And it is in developing that relationship with your soul. I'm constantly pulling on what I know from within. My soul feeds me what I need to know when I need to know it. That's the talk that I did. The need to know. You can look up either We're Valuable Media on Facebook or go to YouTube. My channel is The Next Step, Winston Cunningham. And look at the talk that I did on these subjects. I cover these because it's in bits and pieces that we pull the more of the picture together. And this is what I deeply appreciated about the School of Metaphysics, because I came from religion and none of that made any sense to me. I wouldn't say none of it, but it didn't make enough sense for me to hang on to it. But I appreciated the school because they taught me how to see truth through my own experience and how to listen to my own soul. And it's developing that relationship between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, the marriage made in heaven. Read what was said about that. But it's what it is. The marriage made in heaven is the relationship between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And I've spent 40 years developing a good relationship with my own soul. When I need to know something, I just want to be still. It's the stillness that allows you to hear what your own soul is saying. And with people without any education about mind, they think God is speaking to them. Well, that's true in a sense, because it's all God. Everything is God. So, but I think it's a waste of time to figure out what God was saying. The time is better spent figuring out what's coming from within here in a personal way and how it relates to your own experience. I don't spend any time speculating about what God wants or what God. I hear people talking all the time. Well, God wants you to do this. God, well, hell, you don't even know yourself yet, and you're talking about God. And I've got this book, Bartlett's Familiar Quotation, about this thick, and in there I run across a quote that says, and I can't remember who said it, but it's in the book. It said that we cannot yet make a worm, and yet we are making gods by the dozens. We don't even know ourselves yet. So I think getting to know yourself is the big first step. And as you take a step toward this, you will begin to see your next step. That's what I talk about on this YouTube channel. The next step. Because I know what it's like to come to terms with where I am and the step that I'm in. If I can get more clear about that, then I begin to see my next step. And that's what I want to stimulate in other people. I can't tell you what you should do, what you shouldn't do. If you want that, pick a religion. I'll be glad to tell you that. But what I can help you do is to go in here and not only figure out where you are, but where you're going as you go. You don't get the whole thing before you start. You pick it up in bits and pieces as you step toward it. And the more steps you take toward it, it begins to become clear what it is. The closer you get to it, the more of it you can see. But if you back off and say, no, I'm not supposed to, well, you're wasting time. And I think we're getting to the point to where even though time is only relative to the physical existence, it's not relative above that into mind. I think we can all feel, at least, that even people without any education about mind still know that something is happening in the world, because we're changing times. We're moving from the 5th day into the 6th, and that requires that we become responsible, responding to our abilities, responding with our abilities, and developing more ability to respond. It's all about responding. Compare that to reacting. That just makes you nuts. Or makes you realize you're nuts. Oh, boy. Looking in the mirror can clear up a whole lot of confusion. Because that's where you get the truth. I know every morning when I get up and look in the mirror, I say, damn, you again? I don't know you yet. I'm getting there, but I don't know you yet. That's another talk I did. I don't know yet. That was a talk. And I cover these little bits and pieces, and it becomes a talk in itself. Because when you put your attention on one little thing and hold your attention on it with nothing else in the way, then that picture begins to expand. Hello? The picture itself expands. And if you're walking toward what you want to see, then the closer you get to it, the more you see. And back to using what you know, the parable of the talents. Using your talents, developing your talents, recognizing your talents, using those things, that's all about the parable of the talents. Whereas if you ignore the whole thing, things don't stay the same. It's impossible to stay the same. You're either moving forward or you're slipping away. Sounds like a song, don't it? Slipping away. But that's by choice. You choose to move forward, or you choose to say to hell with it, and everything begins to slip away. And reminds me of a talk I did on getting old is a choice. Because people, I'm 81, and people my age are just slipping away. I mean, not everybody, but a lot of people. Because they're confused about why they're here. They think they're supposed to get old just because they're a certain age. I didn't do that. I'm not doing that. I've got my life planned to at least 140. I'm filling in the details as I go. As I step toward it, I begin to understand it. If I thought I could understand completely between now and 140, I'd be driving myself nuts. I'm close enough to that already. So, use what you know. And what happens when you use what you know, it's opening up an avenue for you to gain more understanding about yourself, which goes back to the heart. Use what you know. No matter what level of understanding a person has in relation to mind, body, and spirit, and all of these things, and whether the microcosm or the macrocosm you're looking at, at the School of Metaphysics, just into the advanced series, I was assigned a book by Alice Bailey. And the title is, if you want to explore this, the title is The Consciousness of the Atom. And you'll find it under, I think there's a group that was formed just to keep intact her books. But look up Alice Bailey, you'll find it. But whether you're looking at a cell in your body or whether you're looking at the universe, it's the same picture. They both function under the same laws, the universal laws. The universal laws applies to the universe. It also applies to you in the most minute form. I even did a talk on form and structure, because the form, as you move toward what you want, the structure and form begins to develop around you. So you are the key to this whole shooting match. So to follow your development, to follow your path, so to speak, just look within here. Your own soul will guide you. And the only reason I do these talks is so that you can be stimulated to see what step you're in and to have your eyes open to the next step. And if you'll just take that, you don't need me for anything else. I'm just trying to provide some stimulation here. And my job, as I see it, is to make people say, huh. Because if they can walk away from me with a question, then they're going to step toward finding an answer. And then they're on the way. They don't need me. Every person has everything they need right in here. Use what you know and you will gain more. I'm Winston Cunningham. Thank you.